Alright, here's the book, Operation and Maintenance. You have to check the engine oil. Check the engine air filter. The red line shows in here, and that tells you when you need a new outer filter. This has to be running for you to get a reading on that because it's created, basically it's adjusting that red thing against the spring by air suction. So you have to turn the engine on to check that. When the red ring shows, then you replace the outer filter. Every third time you replace the outer filter, you replace the inner filter. The engine cooling system has to be checked. All you do is just blow the radiators in there. That's why they have these holes right here. They say to use low air pressure, but low air pressure is high air pressure from 2 feet away. It's the same thing. Right? It's not that hard. So just blow on it, or you can use a backpack blower, you can use an air compressor from far away, or you can use a water hose. So you have to drain the fuel filter. You open up the drain cock on the bottom. Come on, Bobcat. I know you can do better. There's the filter right there. And that plastic thing on the bottom gets screwed out. Little dribble. That's it. Okay. Hydraulic fluid, and it should be at the center of the sight gauge when your lift arms are down and you're tilted back. There's your sight glass there. It's got a reading, so you can see the air. Where that little ball is shows you the level. So where we're at right now is boom arms down, boom down, and implement tilted back. Okay? Grease all these elements, the lift arms, the cylinders, Bobcat attachment mounting system, pivot pins and wedges and mounting pins. Oh, grease is showing. This hole right here gets you to the bottom grease zerk on that. Oh, we didn't do these. This is the one I missed my first time. Did I miss a grease zerk? I did. So here's a grease zerk that I missed before. This could have been one of the things that I didn't understand in the manual. Okay, by the way, I'd like to include a small review. I bought this lock and lube at the local tractor place a couple weeks ago, and it just screws onto your regular grease gun shaft or the flexible shaft, whatever you have. And I've always had trouble with getting my lube tips on the gun to squirt the grease inside the fitting. For some reason, you always have to have it held a certain way and the right amount of pressure, And it can be very frustrating to have to try to twist that thing and tighten it or loosen it when you're covered in grease. And I'm not advertising for Lock and Lube. I just bought this thing and it helps me a lot. Fortunately for me, the clearances for all the lube points on this machine are big enough to fit this tip. But your normal tip is slightly smaller. And so you might not be able to use this on all machines, but this Lock and Lube tip is very convenient. You just pull this lever and these jaws open up and you stick it on there, and when you let it go, those jaws bite in and the grease goes in even if you're at a slight angle. It's very handy to have, and grease already makes a big mess when you're greasing, so it's really nice to have something that seems to alleviate the stress of greasing. I think it would alleviate my stress in greasing even more if I had an electric grease gun. But this thing right here is definitely a step up in the user experience. As a guy who basically am fairly new to greasing and don't really want the hassle of trying to figure out, and God help you if you take that thing apart, man, there's a little ball and a spring inside, and if you don't put it back how you took it apart, it won't work, and you just have to buy another one. And they make some pretty good grease tips, and they make one that goes in and you could do it at a 90-degree angle, which you sometimes need on automotive uses. But this Lock and Lube thing is really great to have around. Okay, and then you check the interlocks, which is basically the thing that stops you from starting while the hydraulics levers are being handled or while the auxiliary pedal is down. The lockout system is the thing that stops you from lowering the boom when it's off. I'm going to check the neutral start interlock. So when you have the hydraulics actuated, it will not start. When you have your foot on this pedal, it will not start. Turn off the machine, try to lower, try to tilt. This red button right here allows you to lower the boom. You cannot lower the boom without this red button. Red button, boom. You still cannot tilt, but you can lower if you hit that button, okay? Parking brake, I use that all the time. You would move this lever, and then lever comes back when the spring is set free, and that pin right there pops out. When that pin comes out, that sprocket can't turn. Here's a tip, pro tip for when you want to release this brake. That can be very tight. Say I back up, I'm on a hill, and that thing goes all the way back. Well, it can be hard to push forward, so you just gently tweak the throttle just a little to roll forward or back. And that helps relieve that pin and gets you back out of park. Indicators and lights. You just check and make sure there's no lights on. So basically here's how the continuous flow shutoff works. You have the auxiliary pedal that keeps the vehicle from starting if you're stepping on it. What that does is keep auxiliary flow on so you don't have to have your hand on the auxiliary flow lever. So when you take your foot off that pedal, it is supposed to release that lever within 1 to 3 seconds at low throttle. Down, foot off the pedal, handle goes back. That's how you check the continuous flow shutoff. It's supposed to shut itself off. If it doesn't shut itself off, you have a malfunction, and when you take your foot off that pedal, then you basically may not know that what your implement is actually doing, so it is kind of a safety issue. General check. That's pretty general, isn't it? So that's the 10-hour maintenance for this machine. I hope it's been a help to you, and you have to do the 10-hour maintenance, you have to do the 50-hour, the 100-hour, you have to do all the maintenance. There's no such thing as a reliable machine. Reliable is a thing that you create by taking good care of things that are guaranteed to break no matter what. I'm just trying to prolong the life of this machine. If any of these things don't get checked, and they should have, that's on the operator. It's like when you drive your car. If you run out of oil, maybe you ignored the oil light, maybe the light didn't cut on, but you're supposed to check the oil. And if you don't check the oil, you don't check the air filters, you don't check anything on the machine, you can expect to have serious problems with it before your payments are even done being made. And it's the same as when you buy a used machine, you can always tell the one that's been maintained because it doesn't have those dumb, ignorant problems. Is my dog up there? There's like all kinds of weird noises coming from there.
Mice.
They just goes right here. So, yeah, you create reliability by taking good care of something. You don't buy something and expect it to just work no matter what. That's an ignorant way to have a machine. So I'm just trying to take good care of it. I make payments on the machine, so I want the thing to last the maximum possible amount of time with the least amount of repairs. So that's how you do the 10-hour maintenance. I hope it's been a help to you, and good luck out there, YouTube.